Welcome to Ready, Set, Live, everybody. My name's Tyler, and today we have a special treat for you guys. On this episode 16, we are talking about a spoiler. Ravensburger has sent us the goods, and we're talking about the implications of the card and how it will interact with some of the new stuff that's coming out in this set, and we are here to talk about all that and more on this episode of Ready, Set, Live. Let's go.
Ready, set, draw!
Well, guys, welcome in.
This is a special occasion for this episode. The first episode in this new space. Welcome to the new location.
And it's beautiful and it's huge.
Yeah, y'all can't see the whole room, but we can. It's a bigger space.
It's a much bigger space.
Yeah. Anthony, you've outdone yourself in this location.
Thank you. Yep.
Well, if you are on Twitter, you probably saw a recent tweet I made about a lost episode we had. Just to quickly get it out of the way, we did an entire episode on the discussion of the bounce cards, the Mims and the Merlins, the deck that it would go in, the strategy involved. We had a lot of discussion about those cards, which our apologies if we reference that in this episode, even though y'all haven't been able to see that conversation. It was a sad occurrence, but given the professionals we aim to be, we must push forward. And we are going to push forward because we know that you are here for a special reason. And that reason is a new card from Rise of the Floodborn.
Ooh.
We don't want to keep you waiting too long. So, as we kick things off, I just want to say thank you to Team Lorcana for giving us the opportunity to spoil a card.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It is a doozy. We believe, I would say, I could speak for all of us. We believe that this is a card that we'll see play face up or face down at your local game stores.
Spoiler right there.
Yeah. So let's play a little game for the live chat who are watching this on the premiere. Let's see if you can guess what kind of card this is, features on it, just by some little hints that each of us are going to give you. So my hint for you is this is only the second of this card type revealed in my favorite ink color. So let's sit on that for a second.
Okay.
If any of you have watched the show before, you should know what my favorite ink color is.
And if you don't, shame on you and get in the comments.
There's the door.
I was pointing to the red.
I was about to say, it's right there. It could have been behind him. It could have been. Okay, and my hint is your characters have to be prepared in order to play this card. Okay, so
a little mechanical teaser.
Yeah, a little bit. You got it. So, gotta be ready for that for that love.
Okay. Anthony, what is your hint?
Okay. My hint is if you want to be able to let me say it properly, okay, guys? If you want to be able to dish it, you have to be able to take it.
So you have to give up something or do something in order to get what you want. Okay. All right. And I guess the last of the hints that we'll say is once revealed, this card will be bared. Given the previous hints, maybe you can put things together. Are you ready to reveal the card, guys? Are you ready? Let's point to the card. Let's point to the card right here. Let's manifest the card. It is Teeth and Ambitions, a ruby song, 2 cost, inkable, face up, face down, and it has the song text. A character with cost 2 or more can exert to sing this song for free.
Already solid.
But the text is what we care about, right?
Yep.
This text is beautiful.
Wait, which text are we talking about? The flavor text or the actual text?
¿Por qué no los dos? Deal 2 damage to chosen character of yours to deal 2 damage to another chosen character.
Oh, okay. I see what you were talking about. Dishing it to yourself to be able to dish it out to others. I got you.
So let's address those hints. This is only the second Ruby song to be revealed. Be Prepared, obviously, is the first.
Yep.
Tyler, what did your hint towards?
The fact that you have to be prepared, that means that you have to have a character that can sing it.
Yeah, can sing it, but also can take it.
Yeah.
And there's another little flavor on your hint.
Oh yeah, be prepared because it's obviously Scar. Yeah.
It's
the whole point. Yeah.
Now the last hint, this card will be bared. The lyrics of the song towards the very end are my teeth and ambitions are bared. Be prepared. The flavor text, Tyler, you're a resident flavor text guru. What is the flavor text in this?
Of course, quid pro quo. You're expected to take certain duties on board.
Yeah. You're going to have to take some damage for my kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Take some damage, and we will make sure
You're gonna have to take
that the damage is dealt elsewhere. All right? So, a couple notable things. It is inkable damage. This is not super common. I mean, Smash is an inkable action that has like the 3 damage you can put out anywhere. It's not conditional, but most of the other damage-based stuff we've seen has not been inkable if it's just do it at your own will.
Yeah.
Or if it's not really expensive. Like
It's also not been in Ruby.
Yeah, Ruby doesn't have a lot
Ruby
of
doesn't
this at all.
have damage like ever.
Yeah,
So for it to have any sort of damage, solid. It's really looking like they're really trying to push into this mentality of pulling Ruby into Amber. Like
I do love this in Amber.
Yeah, so this combination really feels like it fits really well with what the Ruby Amber mentality now moving forward is trying to do, where like you deal a lot of damage, but you're dealing damage with your characters, and now you have a specific song that you can now use.
Yeah,
because now this works with what is it? The shield.
Oh yeah, Shield of Virtue.
Shield of Virtue. And Fan the Flames and LeFou.
Oh,
like, it gives you the opportunity to go ahead and use this as a workable card where you're like, okay, I wanna swing, but at the same time, I still need to be able to deal damage to other things first.
I want to swing, but I also want to sing.
Yeah.
You know? I love it. I love it. Now, 2 damage is pretty relevant in the early part of the game. I don't want to pretend like this is a card that you would freely be able to sing in the early game.
Yeah, not on
you
turn
would have
2,
to do that on turn
3.
3 usually. And by turn 3, I mean, we've seen some lower willpower characters exist with 2 willpower. Like in that, they would be on the board at that point in the game.
Yeah.
The question is, do you have something that can take the damage and not get banished itself? You know what I mean?
I feel like
it's a little bit of a heavier ask.
There's a lot of solid 1-drops now that are 1/3s, which those cards can definitely take it.
I have here in our show notes that characters with 3 willpower have become more relevant thanks to this card.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So your own Minnie Mouse, the one from from chapter 1 that was a 1/3, it can take this. It can't sing it, but
it can take
like stuff like Donald Duck Boisterous Fowl. He's a 2/3. He can sing it. He can take it. He can dish it. It's I'm not advocating for playing Boisterous Fowl in many decks, but at least he can do it.
He is the Duck Dynasty, bro.
He is the Duck Dynasty, yes. So, Anthony, I know whenever we shared this card, the synergy that spoke to me was the healing synergy aspect of it. And I think that we kind of talked about in the game right now, you don't really get to just take damage from your opponent, usually, without it being banished. So how excited are you for the opportunity to actually have some synergy on being able to create your own damage on your terms?
For sure. Before I even get to that, I was just thinking like this helps, especially the Amethyst Ruby deck, because now I have some early ways of getting rid of that those pesky Flim Riders, and I don't have to wait for Be Prepared and all the other things.
That is something I didn't think about.
Yeah.
It's actually viable removal earlier than Dragonfire.
Exactly,
and inkable.
Yeah.
For those decks. That is definitely true.
Raising the ink count. Let's go.
Yeah,
your
is
deck
definitely useful.
And it's
needs that.
inkable. Yes.
Yeah.
It's half the problem.
The question
with
is,
your deck, bro.
though, what character does that deck play that would be able to sing this? I'm just curious. Maleficent Sorceress could sing it, but she would also get banished from its effect if you had to choose her. Does that deck play Minnie Mouse?
I mean, you can. It's an option to throw in there. I'm trying to think of what early would.
Olaf.
It would kill him.
Olaf.
Yeah.
Some people do run Olaf.
He would be pretty worth it in that deck, at least to give you something.
To sing it. Gaston.
Oh yeah.
He could sing it as long as you could target something else, maybe.
Yeah.
But still, you're willing to let him go in order to get something. So maybe if something's
He's
behind the
doing his
bodyguard,
job.
Right. Right.
You could use him to sing that instead of actually just
if I need to
throwing him in.
If I need to get rid of the Flynn, and I don't, you
don't want to challenge
exactly.
it. That is a good point. Yes. Now,
I would like to point out though that if the Flynn is ready, like obviously you want to do that, but if it wasn't ready, go ahead and swing into it and just discard it. Like it's not a big deal because you're basically doing the exact same thing.
Well, I want to say
trade-off.
I want to say this though, because I know the gears are spinning. Everybody, whenever they see a new card, gears start spinning. Like, what can I do with this card? What can I do with this card?
I didn't even think about resist.
Get questions. You get questions like resist.
Didn't even think about that.
Just in case before, because I wanted to do my due diligence. I asked just in case, does my character have to take damage in order to get damage on theirs or the other character that I choose? And the answer was, it is not a requirement for damage to be put on your character. It is just a requirement for you to choose a character. So whenever you actually put the damage on your character, if you have a character with resist +2, it will not take any damage, and then you deal 2 damage.
Oh, that's solid.
That's very solid. So one
That's
of the
really
decks
good.
that I'm so excited about that I kind of hinted at with my question to you earlier, Ruby Sapphire is getting some really interesting stuff because now you have a legitimate removal option, kind of like you were complaining with Ruby Amethyst. Ruby Sapphire had really nothing before Let It Go and Dragonfire. There wasn't much to speak of other than maybe some rush characters. But even then, Gaston aside, it was Maui, right? Maybe a pocket watch if you're playing Amethyst could maybe get something faster, but that's not really quick. So this is a great, great answer considering that deck would already want to play some hardy, resilient stuff to get lore cranking. And whenever you are building Sapphire Ruby now, you want to build towards that healing because a lot of these Sapphire cards that we're going to discuss later on the strategy segment, healing is getting such a boost. And when you can benefit from the act of healing your stuff, like I hinted at earlier, you can't always guarantee that you're going to take damage and keep it without being banished in the first place.
Right.
So this being a way to say, okay, I'm going to put 2 damage on me, and then I'm going to deal 2 damage to your thing, remove that. Now on my turn, because before you've had a chance to do anything, I'm going to heal this 2 damage off, get some kind of benefit from it, like lore or like card draw. I get to get a benefit and then pass like nothing happened. And the fact that you can sing it means you don't have to invest ink into it. You can go ahead and just exert the character that you want to hit with the thing and then heal it later. It really sings. It sings. So I'm so excited about this card and its potential in the game. I know it's not a free gimme card considering it has a requirement, but
It's still really good.
I love the flavor of it, having to give a little bit to get a little bit.
Teeth and ambitions, man.
Yeah, it's a wonderful card. They're really leaning into Scar with Ruby.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It's fitting though. I love Lion King. So it's so fitting.
So what you're telling me is that the Ruby player is the villain?
Yeah. I'll embrace it if I have to. So, any last
die
thoughts
the
before
hero,
we move
man.
on?
I just think that it's great. I think it's solid. I think just from an all-around perspective, I think it's just solid all around. So,
Anthony, any last thoughts on what you want to say about this card before we move on?
Glad we have some more damage dealing stuff in
Yeah.
Ruby.
oh, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Ravensburger, for giving us the chance. Team Lorcana for
You
giving
guys
us the
are
chance.
awesome. We appreciate
Thank you for helping us, content creators, get a little love, an opportunity to share something with the community. It means a lot. So, there's not just teeth and ambitions to talk about. There
Man,
are
we
quite
got
a few.
so many cards, man.
There are quite a few to discuss. We want to move through them kind of quickly because we know that by the time this episode's coming out, a lot of these cards aren't news to you. So we want to talk more about like what they are capable of doing, how they shake up the game, ways we're excited to play them. So we're going to start with the cards that don't take much analysis, the cards that you can look at and pretty much see everything they're going to do all in one place. And these are the vanilla cards.
Going for the vanilla
meaning
life.
there's no other text other than the stats and the name on the card. So the vanilla cards, the one that I want to put out of this list, you can have the next one if you want. The one that I want to point out on this list is Prince Charming. Prince Charming is a 4-cost sapphire card that is 3 strength, 3 willpower, and 3 lore. He is Prince Charming, heir to the throne, a dreamborn hero prince. I just want to bring up the fact that I don't know how many times I've played against a Hans scheming prince, and
it's a good card.
It is such a good card. It can really put pressure. Now, it gets removed a lot by stuff like Smash, but the fact that
they have to deal with
4 ink, they have to deal with it because it just puts such a clock on the game. And the fact that that was such an Emerald thing, I think leaned a lot of aggressive strategies into Emerald because that was a possibility.
Yep.
But Prince Charming being a 3 lore character at 4, it opens up ramp yet again. That ramp can have another early thing. It's kind of like Maleficent, Uninvited. Being able to get something out that quickly that could put that kind of pressure on.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I usually have 4 ink on turn 3, easy. So I can see putting this guy out on turn 3 and really putting the pressure on. So Tyler, what was Anthony, you want to go?
And I know that this color fits to you, so I think you should totally take that man right there.
Okay, so it's Pinocchio. He is 2-cost, uninkable.
Which is kind of a bummer.
Pinocchio Star Attraction. He's a 1/1 with 3 ink on him.
Or 3 lore.
3 lore.
3 ink, 3 lore.
Yeah, speaking of 3 lore, what's better, getting it on turn 4 that's inkable or turn 2 that's uninkable? I mean,
it's so good.
I wouldn't call this power creep necessarily.
It's not.
It flirts with it just because you see it. You see that ink count on something so low, you feel like this is power creep. But it's really 1 more ink for 1 more lore, which I think is totally fair.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's solid.
The amount of pressure that you can put on somebody so early. How many times? I know you can technically play like a Lilo and a Maleficent in an Amber Amethyst deck, and on turn 2, like instantly put out 4 lore, technically. But that's also 2 of the cards.
Right.
So it's draining your hand. This guy is more condensed. Yes, 1 less lore, but dear goodness, the amount of pressure you can put on with just Amethyst, if I might add.
With just Amethyst.
Just Amethyst. Yeah. No need for Lilo. Just the Maleficent and the Pinocchio can get the job done.
Tiny man, single colors.
Oh my gosh. If Pinocchio said he was bad, his nose would grow. Because that boy lying. Anyways, I don't want to steal your thunder. Is there anything... Are you going to play this?
Oh, yeah.
In your aggressive deck, for sure.
Yes, for sure.
I would wonder, though, in your control Amber or Amethyst Ruby deck, does this make the cut?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't play it, but I mean...
You wouldn't put it past someone else from trying.
Yeah. I might experiment it. I'll play around with it. I'm just interested in throwing Pinocchio down and then, like, surprise Simba, you know? Like...
What the?
Yes. This guy sits behind Simba really, really well. If Maleficent and Lilo do, then this guy really does.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I don't play a ton of Amethyst. The only Amethyst deck that I actually play is Amethyst Sapphire Ramp. But I think that this guy, that deck doesn't have a lot of uninkable cards in it currently. So he's in the mix of, like, the cards that I would consider cutting, but would definitely be in the 75 that I'm considering. Because that 3 lore, I'm addicted to high lore
75
characters.
cards that you're considering?
No, I'm saying, like, you build a deck and you're like, these 75 definitely are worth looking at. Now let's cut it down to 60. That's just deck building, man. It's just deck building.
Okay, that's fair.
Tyler, what do you want to get?
You know what? I want to talk about my man.
I already know what it is.
The Goof.
Yeah.
Goofy is a 9-drop inkable. That is a body if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
He's 10 strength, 10 willpower.
Dude.
But he got that 4 lore, baby. He's got all the body and all the strength. Dear goodness, man. It's so good.
Anthony, what's your thought when you see this guy hit the table?
At the current state of the game, it's just kind of like, you know? I don't think it's that good.
Did you ever think you would say that?
No, I didn't.
Our analysis before the set 1 came out, we would look at this card. I promise you, if this was in set 1, people would go, well, that's how you win the game right there.
Right.
That's how you win the game, man. Right. And now we know that the game never gets there. Yep. You know, especially if you're playing Steel, you're lacking a fundamental ability to double up on control colors. I know Steel can control. I don't want to speak out of turn here. But
you put this in Steel Sapphire?
Yeah, maybe.
That top end grossness?
Here's the problem. Yes, I would consider it, but Anthony, I trust you to say exactly what I'm thinking. What's the problem with this card?
You mean besides like sometimes you're not not even getting to 9E?
Yeah. I'm saying like even when you play the card,
it's just gonna get hit with something and it's gone.
Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna get banished. Like it's so much to invest into something that's gonna be gone like instantly.
Yeah. So this was actually a contentious point on Twitter. Like there was a community discussion going on. Some people were borderline condescending with some of the stuff, but because it was just not hurtful. I mean, it's all good. It's all in good fun. But the common phrase when a lot of these cards are getting spoiled, now that a lot of people have played the game and a lot of spikes have played the game who really, really want to win, they instantly see something and they say, that dies to removal. It dies to removal. Dies to removal, and just dismiss it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it gets kind of lost in the weeds that there's some truth to it, and there's also some, okay, but ease up, you know?
Right.
Like your point that it does nothing when it hits the table other than make your opponent go, oof.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want that to stick around for that long, you know?
That's it.
Yeah.
The point being, and I was kind of leaning on this side of the argument of it, it is legitimate to say that something is removed by a card, and therefore it is not a problem. But also it is legitimate to say this forces them to have something.
That's true.
So in some matchups, this would be very scary to deal with.
Yeah. Against
Amber, until we got a recent reveal, we would have said they can't do anything against this card. But I don't think it's entirely, the whole argument can be made that just because it gets removed by one card potentially, it can get dragon fired, therefore it's bad.
And it's part of the reason why I specifically stated Sapphire and Steel for this particular card is Sapphire Steel has one thing going for it that no other color set has.
What?
Protection.
Oh, yeah.
It has wide range protection.
Yeah. If you give
put
this guy
ward, tell me what your Dragonfire is doing to that, bud.
And it is realistic to say that if you can get to the ramp and you can get to the point where you can play him on a turn 6, turn 7, and you can realistically have an Aurora out,
really good.
The Aurora can get removed too. I don't see anybody saying Aurora is bad.
Yeah.
Just because she can get removed by a card. So it's more nuanced than just dies to removal. But I'm glad I could put my trust in you, Anthony, because that was when I saw this card, I was like, whoa, they put 4 lore on another card. I didn't know they would do that so soon. I thought my brave little Taylor was special, but he doesn't have evasive.
And they did it twice.
Honestly, I would rather have a 10-10 stats than evasive. I don't know about y'all, but 10-10 worth of stats is pretty monstrous. I didn't know they could fit the number 10 inside those symbols.
Yeah, neither did I.
But they fit it.
They did.
Yeah, we spent too long on Goofy. That's all I'm going to say.
Sorry.
So the next vanilla worth mentioning.
The last vanilla
worth mentioning. No, you got
I got one more.
One more card. The other vanilla, I'm trying to find it here. Got it. It is a 2-ink inkable Minnie Mouse zipping around. 3 strength, 2 willpower, 1 lore. I know what you may be saying, Jacob. What is a 2-ink card vanilla doing on this notable list? Here's the issue.
It's got 3 strength, bud.
It's got 3 strength and it is 2 ink. That is not something that is inherent on any card until this was revealed. Yes, the Enchantress got revealed and it can pseudo have 3 strength when it's challenged. That was an Emerald card they revealed, but this one it just has 3 too. So it means that while it may be more vulnerable to some things, what an aggressive stat line. That didn't exist. So any 3 willpower character that was hanging around could pretty much assume that anything at that range in the game was safe.
Hey man, that's 0 to fun in 3 seconds.
0 to fun in under 3 seconds. Yeah. Under 3 willpower. I don't know. That's a one downside. Yeah, it's
that and only 1 lore.
You're not really questing with it. I don't imagine.
Nah,
I think she's zipping right into a challenge.
You're swinging.
But boy, I'm excited about this card. It gives you a little more options. I don't know if that she'll ever fully make it into a slot in the future, but as for now, with the limited options you have at those low ranges, she can sing Teeth and Ambitions. Yes, she would get banished to it if you had to choose her, but she can still sing it. Something worth noting.
True.
Okay. What's your last? Did you have any other points on that card?
Well, no. I'm gonna notably just say a couple, and then the one that I actually want to say. So some other ones like the Steel Donald Duck at the 5-drop, which is it's a minor card. Chip at a 1-drop is a 2/2. That's kind of cool. But the one that I really want to talk about is my man, Cobra Bubbles.
He's Triton.
He is.
He's Triton and Amber.
He's a 7-drop. He's just a big,
It's foreign language, but it is just simple educator.
Yeah.
He's a simple educator.
I think the funny thing is his flavor text says, so if I understand correctly, your magic grimoire was washed away by a flood of magic ink. That's which funny enough, for a color combination that works really well together, amber sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that boy right there is working with our man Detective Mickey about trying to figure out what the heck is up with these Floodborns?
I mean, he very well might be.
Which is even funnier because he works in Hawaii. So that's where the seaweed came from.
I mean, maybe.
I got some questions.
I'm not going to yuck your yum if you have Cobra Bubble theories.
But yeah, you know what? That's it. That's all I got. That's Cobra Bubbles is my man. So anyway.
All right.
What do you think? 7-9? Solid?
Right.
Okay.
It's a 5-9. Thank you very much.
Is it? Oh,
7 ink.
my bad. It's 7 ink.
It's
7
Amber
ink.
Triton. Guys, I didn't advocate to include this card in the
No,
mix.
he did not. I did.
So, I think we have some. We've dealt with potatoes. Let's get to the meat.
Yeah.
The meat of the subject matter.
Boy, we be hungry.
This is one of my favorite cards, not just because of what it does, but because of who was the artist.
Is that our boy Nick?
Nicholas Cole gave us a Clifter Evening.
I was about to say.
If you've called a call back to our episode 13, Scar
Almost
is
a Clifter
standing
night.
on a cliff of an elephant skull, and it is the evening, so we call it Clifter Evening. But
Definitely not Clifter Noon.
Scar, Vicious Cheater, an uninkable 7-cost Ruby Storyborn villain, 6 strength, 5 willpower, 2 lore. I love the 2 lore. Love it. It has rush, so it can immediately impact the board. And he has the flavor text, Daddy isn't here to save you. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may ready this character. He can't quest for the rest of the turn.
It's still really good.
Yeah. I want to point out
He's a 7.
a couple things.
He can
sing
sing
his
Be
own song. He can sing Be Prepared. I'm not saying you would always want to do that.
Dude, that's
but
just a flavor
He
win.
can do it immediately. He can't sing it like the turn he's played. I don't want to pretend like he can just come out and sing it. But
That would be awesome.
what I love is if you play Be Prepared, but you also have character synergies, you honestly might consider playing him instead of a couple of those Be Prepared if you're playing multiple. I don't know a lot of decks that would want to play a ton of characters and Be Prepared because it seems a little risky. You plan on having characters, so why would you want to just banish all of them? But it is very cool to me that this guy can just come down and just pop, pop, pop into multiple things. It is very impressive. I know he only has 5 willpower.
I'll
but
say this. I
goodness
feel like
gracious.
he's yeah. It's a slightly better Maui.
Yeah, but for 2 more ink.
Yeah,
actually.
two more, and not just that, 2 more ink and uninkable.
Yeah, and he has one more strength, but 2 more ink, uninkable. But
It's not 1 more
if
strength.
Maui could,
It's a
Maui
6/5.
is a 6/5 too. Yes, but Maui can't keep on popping.
That's the only thing that gives this Scar the advantage over the Maui.
On a board that you had a bunch of low stuff, like against your deck, Anthony, with a bunch of Lelos and
swinging in.
Maleficents.
It's swinging in.
think
It's
this
swinging hard.
I think you're more scared to Be Prepared though, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So
I would
a
be.
bodyguard does stop this guy. I don't want to pretend like this guy is like the end all be all, best card of the set or anything. A bodyguard makes it awkward, but man, is that art good?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no,
That is such good art.
Nick, you once again
You've
did
outdone
it again.
yourself. You've
You outdone yourself.
man. It's a legendary Ruby card. Want to add that too? Legendary.
How many legendaries do we have thus far? Do we
I
have
think-
most of them?
I think we have like 4 or 5. But we're gonna move on to the
Still
next
pretty
card.
solid.
Another shift card, or not another shift, but another card from one of my favorite movies. It is Basil, Great Mouse Detective, a Floodborn hero detective with 3 strength, 4 willpower, 6 cost inkable, 3 lore. and shift 5. So you can get this guy out on turn 5. And he has the ability, there's always a chance. If you used shift to play this character, you may draw 2 cards when he enters play.
That's really solid.
You may be wondering, what are you shifting this onto? We don't have a Basil, but we do.
We do. We got 2.
Yeah, we got a 4-cost, 3/4 vanilla with 2 lore, and we have a 2-cost, 2 strength, 2 willpower, 1 lore with support. So 2 options means you can fill your deck out with whatever you think it needs on the curve to get this Basil out. But this gives Sapphire, this gives Sapphire the juice. What does it have that I love?
It's got draw.
No, that's not what it has that I love.
High lore?
High lore.
I was about to say, it's got 3 lore.
This is going into that ramp deck instantaneously. I cannot begin to describe. Mufasa, get out the way. Basil, the great mouse detective, is coming in, and he's coming in hot.
I literally read your mind just now because that was literally what I was about to say. He's coming in hot, boys.
Yeah. So the support Basil is what I'd want to play it over to begin with.
Yeah, as a 2-drop.
I care more about that. But I do think it's notable that in order to actually get the draw that you're looking for, you've got to shift him. So you got to give this guy a chance to shift onto something, which means you do have to dedicate card slots to that Basil beneath.
Got to let him cook.
But the shift target of the support Basil, the 2/2/2 for 1 lore and support, that's a relevant card too. We saw Philatides, Hercules' mentor.
Yeah.
We saw Phil actually see play in some Sapphire decks early on. So and I know he supported 3, but supporting in Sapphire is a very relevant strategy to have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially with Amethyst, because you get some good challengers. So it is relevant to say that in that Sapphire Amethyst list, Sapphire Ruby list, whatever it is, that support is definitely worthwhile.
You know what? One card that goes really well with that.
The other great mouse detective
Mrs.
card.
Mina, housekeeper, because she is a 4-drop uninkable that has cleanup. Whenever you play a Floodborn character, such as him, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted.
So you can ramp while you
draw.
And you don't, but that would give you benefit even if you didn't shift him out.
That's true.
It's just Floodborn synergy.
Yep.
There's a Floodborn synergy brewing with Emerald and Sapphire.
There is.
For sure.
It's very solid.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. Anthony, do you have any Sapphire decks? Like, I don't really think you even play Sapphire.
No.
I was about to say,
So you probably have a lot less to say about these cards.
100%.
In his mind, like, I have so little
Well,
to
here's the
talk about
question
here.
then. Here's the question for you, Mr. Ignore the Sapphire. Does this make you at least consider it more?
Not really.
Oh my God.
No, not even a little bit.
Have you seen Great Mouse Detective?
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's 2 things working against you there. 2 things.
Also,
There's the door.
Now I mean, man, we can't lose any more people. Let's just chill out with that. But also, movie night. Totally going to be doing that very soon because honestly, I don't think I've watched that movie all the way through, like ever. So
Let me tell you, it's creepy. It's actually scary. Yeah, it had. When I was a child watching this, I got seriously scared.
Really?
There's a bat that is an apprentice to Ratigan, the main villain, and he creeps up, like his shadow creeps up on the characters towards the beginning of the movie. And there's a girl, like the daughter is told to like hide under the cupboard while the bat comes in and pretty much messes with her dad, and like he's getting mugged pretty much, and like stuff is being stolen from him, and she's inside the cupboard, like just hearing what's going on, and like, he's laughing while he's doing it. I'm like, this is, I'm getting chills.
Oh,
literally,
wow.
Zoom in the camera. My hairs are raising.
Dang.
I am. It's freaky. I don't like it. Anyways,
and yet he loves it,
Anthony,
because he loves
how
the
about
movie.
you take the next one? The Sisu. This was revealed today, by the way.
It
as
was
of the time
revealed
of recording.
today.
The Sisu.
It's the very-
I see it now. Okay, so Sisu Divine Water Dragon.
AKA Aquafina.
4-cost, uninkable, 2/4, storyborn hero deity dragon. Another dragon.
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 It's a dragon.
has the ability it's 2 lore.
Still looking for my boy Mushu.
2 lore and has the ability I trust you. Whenever this character quests, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You may put one into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. It's a legendary, by the way.
Holy cow.
That's a solid legendary. And it's got Develop Your Brain built into it.
Built into a quest, which means it's not just replacing itself.
Character.
What?
You said quest.
No, I said it on its quest.
Oh.
Yeah.
Built
into the quest.
I was like,
Yeah.
it's into the character. But I get what you're saying now. I was like, wait a minute.
The big deal is whenever you develop your brain in a deck, you pretty much just do it knowing like, I want to find something.
Yeah.
But it's not draw, you know? This built into the questing mechanic means that the first one is a develop your brain. The next one is just better than draw a card.
Yep.
If you had a card that said quest and draw a card, you would already be happy with it. But this is quest.
Look at the top 2.
Find your better card and grab it. That is so good.
And if you play it in like a deck that you're talking about, which is Sapphire Amethyst, like you can throw a cauldron in there. You can look at the top 2,
see what you want. You can filter more.
Yeah, you can filter even more.
Yeah.
It's a good card.
It's a good card, and it can come down earlier in games or decks like that. Usually on turn 3, you have 4 ink ready to play. So I am very, very excited about this. The hard part about these spoilers, and folks at home, tell me if I'm wrong here. I mean, or tell me at least if you feel the same way. A ton of the reveals we've seen so far are uninkable, and I'm like, goodness gracious.
Right.
I didn't feel like I would have that many hard choices when building a deck. I would have moments when I was building a deck like, do I really want to include this or this? What's more optimal? But now I feel like I'm building the deck and I'm like, what do I even do? Can I fit 35 uninkables in my deck or can I try?
Dear
Fishbone
God.
Quill.
Just got real good.
Let's try it out, please. Because I need the ability to play multiple of these cards, and I feel like set 2 is making you choose so many.
Yeah.
Because this is competing with like some of your ramp is uninkable, but in ramp decks you automatically generate ink faster. If it's pulled off the top of your deck, it doesn't matter if it was uninkable; it gets put there anyways.
Yeah.
But ramp decks generally care a little bit less about the uninkable count, but still, if you're not a dedicated ramp deck, like not every deck is ramp, you have to choose. And I feel like this competes with other card draw. I think it wins in that competition. Yes, it doesn't do anything the turn it's played. It dies to removal, But, oh my gosh.
It's still really good.
If you can protect it at all,
yeah,
it can start really moving. And what's it doing that you always want to do?
It's drawing your cards and questing.
It's questing. You're getting rewarded for doing what you want to do to begin with.
Yep.
It's so nice. And it's a dragon, card. So you got to watch out for that Fang crossbow.
Whoa now.
You got to watch out.
Whoa now. You throwing that Fang crossbow at me, somebody's going to catch these hands.
Yeah. We're going to come back to the one that was on next on the list because I know Tyler's excited to talk about one card in particular.
Yeah. So the card that I want to talk about is the 5-drop inkable Shang Archery Instructor. He's a 3/6, and he has the ability Archery Lesson. Whenever this character quests, your characters gain evasive this turn.
Dang it.
Let's just put a blanket evasive on everything. It now just says, oh, so you thought that you were safe. No, sir. You were never safe.
I will add, he has to quest to get it to happen.
He does, which means that he's not doing it the turn that he's playing.
The evasive deck has one turn to figure it out.
One.
And
good luck.
And I'm glad that he's a 5 cost, which means more often than not, I might have 5 ink for a Dragonfire.
Why do I feel like I'm throwing out Sapphire Steel in here? Make him
way.
really, really hard to get rid of.
Either way, we saw Donald Duck Musketeer come down and give all your bodyguards evasive.
all the it's all Musketeers.
All Musketeers evasive. That wasn't that good, right? It wasn't the answer people thought it was going to be.
Yeah, because I don't think because there's not enough Musketeers, it didn't give enough.
Yeah.
To the whole. Mm-hmm. I think that's the answer.
This is legit.
This is such a good card.
This is so good.
And the flavor text is also pretty good. Learn what to do, then learn to do it without thought. You know what that tells me? Ultra instinct, baby. Do it without thought.
That reminds me of drumming. It's like you can think about a beat, but you got to feel it.
Yeah, got to feel it.
All right, Anthony, you want to take the next one? I'll circle back to my last one on this little list here.
The next one is Gruesome and Grim action song, 3 cost uninkable. It can be sung with the character of 3 cost or less, and it has the ability to play a character with cost 4 or less for free. They gain rush at the end of the turn. Banish them.
This card is so good. So good.
Anthony, how fast are you going to put 4 of this in your day?
Like instantly. It's going to be the first card that goes in there.
So good.
So hypothetically, I know with that Lost episode we had about the bounce cards, we talked a lot about the bounce mechanic and its viability, but this was not spoiled when we were doing that.
No, it was not.
It was not.
You know, I like to think that it was within reason that the episode never hit the airwaves, because this would have changed the way we see a lot of those cards.
For sure.
This was a combo.
This card
For
makes
sure.
me happy.
For sure.
It was pointed out to me. I forgot who it was. I'm so sorry if you were the first to give this point, and I'm not giving you your credit here. But when you use this with Merlins, like a Merlin goat, for instance, the goat comes in, you get 1 lore. The goat swings into something, and if he goes, you get 1 lore. But if not, he comes back to your hand whenever. Or wait, what was I thinking of? What was I thinking of? Just he gets rush.
Mm-hmm.
He goes into something, and then if you play something else, then he comes back into your hand. Doesn't get banished. Like if you return him to your hand, if you return the goat to your hand.
Yeah.
I'm basically saying like you can get around.
Yeah,
this,
the
you can get around the back.
the banished part.
The banished part. But even if he
So
does get
easily,
banished,
too.
it
You
still
get
gets the effect. So
The bounce deck is going to be legit.
so the bounce deck can really take advantage of this. But even cards.
It's the fact this card is a song.
Oh yeah.
It makes it that much better because you don't have to pay the ink in order to play the card. You can literally just go ahead, use
Play
your
a
3 drop
cost to play a 4.
to play a 4, and then use your 4 ink to play something else to put it back into your hand.
Yeah.
Like you can, oh man, I would have to think about how, like the easiest way of being able to do that. I think honestly, wait, so what is bounce isn't a song.
Bounce is a 3
But
cost.
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo is.
Yeah.
So you can use Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo to bounce something, like to go ahead and bounce the card, or play,
and then put something else in.
Play something else in.
Or put the card that you put in your hand back on the battle or on the board, and then
just read
and it stays.
Oh my gosh!
Ridiculous.
This card is.
We were talking about combo.
Yeah.
We're
it's,
here.
It's
We've
one of
made
those
it.
things that you have to evaluate. Like anytime they make a 4-cost card, and that card has aggressive stats, it has meaningful strength, meaningful willpower, a meaningful when it challenges effect. If it has challenger, like the Elsa, the 4-cost Elsa with challenger 3, just whatever.
Yeah.
It's a 6/3. It can come down instantly, just clean up for being sung onto the board. It's really weird how that works. It's like it gives all these 4-cost characters and lower. It's like it gives them, you can sing this. You know what I mean? It's it's really hard to wrap my head around. Yeah, Mim is cooking. She is really going.
Mim's all in on the cooking, man.
Yeah.
She's the only woman that wants to stand in the kitchen, like, let me cook.
I got to move on before my brain melts trying to think of these Gruesome and Grim combos.
Don't do it.
I want to.
You'll break your brain.
I want to move on to one of my favorite cards I have seen from the set, even if it is not some like super notable character. It's not like it's a Belle, or a Disney princess, but it is a card that is going to change the way that we see a certain strategy in this game. It is Grand Pabbie, the oldest and the wisest.
Yeah,
Now,
he is.
Grand Pabbie, the oldest and the wisest, is a 7-cost uninkable Storyborn mentor.
You don't care.
3 strength, 6 willpower, 3 lore.
Let him cook.
Ancient knowledge is the ability. Whenever you remove 1 or more damage from one of your characters, you may gain 2 lore. If I had a mic, I would drop it. I can't drop this mic.
It's pretty ridiculous. Oh, man.
Yes, it makes you play healing. Yes, it does. We revealed a card today on this show that works so well with this card. Now, that forces you into Ruby Sapphire, but you know what they just revealed in Sapphire? Thanks to the Illuminateers and their live stream?
Gumbo Pot.
Gumbo Pot.
Such a good card.
Gumbo Pot is an item that exerts to heal up to 2 characters, 1 damage from each of them. You can get 4 lore with Gumbo Pot.
Grand Pabbie. He be cooking, man.
Okay, so let's say the strengths are obvious. What's the downfall with this card? Like what are the drawbacks?
Uninkable.
Yeah, it is uninkable. Yeah. Face palms.
I was about to say, that was in the last episode. Yeah. So for those of you who know or don't know,
whenever
every uninkable, it's a face palm.
But
for
some
sure.
cards you're willing to face palm for. It's worth
for
it.
sure.
It's worth it. So Grand Pabbie, it's great. I would say the only downside, it's uninkable, yes. Having 2 of these out at the same time
is a problem.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Because that would stack. It's requiring multiple cards at once, I understand this, but 2 Grand Pabbies out means you can technically heal the other Grand Pabbie and the other one sees it. Like this requires you can even heal him. And get the healing.
You're gonna break your brain by halfway through this episode.
There's so many synergies with this. You can oh my gosh. Okay, let's take away Ruby. Let's just analyze it on the Sapphire Amber.
It's a really good card.
Sapphire Amber. This makes Dinglehopper a weapon. This is. Oh, let me just get my 1 healing with Dinglehopper and get 2 lore. Let's just quest with Dinglehopper essentially. That is ridiculous. I made a whole Lorcana lesson about how Dinglehoppers aren't scary. That was a whole joke.
Yeah. It's scary now, but
if Grand Pabbie's holding that fork, it's terrifying. So he has 6 willpower, which is relevant because he can reasonably challenge into something, take the damage, and then get healed and benefit from it. Yeah. He can quest for 3. I don't want to let that be.
So basically, what you're telling me right now is that Grand Pabbie let him eat instead of let him cook.
Yes, this is
because that man's gonna have a fork in his hand. He's going in.
The Rapunzel that we know now.
Oh, bro,
gives you card draw for healing. Also get lore for it. The other Rapunzel that they revealed, the promo Rapunzel. It lets you draw a card anytime any character is healed.
Yeah.
So you're getting card draw and lore from healing. Just build a board, take some damage if you want. Swing. Maximus Palace Horse is infamous for just swinging into something, taking damage. Rapunzel comes down and heals it.
Yeah.
Grand Pabbie says, thank you. Do it again.
Oh,
this
my
is
gosh.
such a cool card. I love it. This is it might be my favorite card.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
So I might play healing cards in the deck in the 99 for this. Do we think this is Gumbo Pot is good? Is Coconut Baskets worth it to run in this deck? This hypothetical?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I'd give it I would give it at least a single look and then move on.
A single look.
Nah. I gave it the single look.
I mean a single look in the deck. Play it and be okay, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. Move on.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
with that being said, we should probably move on because we are going to be running out of time at some point in all of this. So we're moving on to Mulan because Mulan is legit. Mulan is a 4-drop inkable. She has shift and she's a 3/3. It makes me happy. She's got shift too, which tells me that we need a Mulan at a lower level. But all that being said, her ability is Honor to the Ancestors. She's also got 2 lore. Whenever this character quests, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a song card, you may play it for free. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. I want to just go ahead and point out that Reflection is now a good card. It's decent with her. It's decent with her. It makes the card playable
because for free.
Because you can look down 3 to be able to look at your next 3 cards and put them in whatever order. Find the song, put it on top.
Look.
Boom.
You don't. I think you did yourself a disservice by bringing up Reflection. You can just bring up Ariel.
It's in the freaking card, man. It literally says Mulan reflecting.
No, I'm saying
don't at me.
The synergy doesn't require reflection to make this card good. Like that can be an additive
Ariel
point.
is solid.
Ariel, this deck goes in that deck.
Oh yeah.
Or this card goes in that deck.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
9 times out of 10.
Ariel's going to find songs. You're already playing a high critical mass of songs.
I'm still
Zero
trying to
to
find the
Hero
tenth,
is
though.
something that you're going to want to play in a deck like this.
Play it for free.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts, honestly. Singing it's great. Just playing it for free outright's better.
It is.
So
You're not wrong.
I just want to say, it says otherwise put it on top of your deck. So it's not like you're having to bend the card. That's one thing that really frustrates me with Ariel.
Never bend your cards. What are you doing?
Bend, like throw it in the trash, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay, I was like, what is happening here?
With Ariel, it's been frustrating to me. I'll play it. I always find Be Our Guest. Always. I'm always looking for Grab Your Sword. I'm always looking for A Whole New World. And I only ever find Be Our Guest. This one right here, if I find Be Our Guest, I'll take it. Because
She's
it's
playing
free.
it for free.
But what frustrates me about Ariel is whenever I fail to find something, all 4 go on the bottom. And I'm like, well,
you never get to see those
if
again.
I can't have, Be Our Guest even, I really would have loved to draw that Tinkerbell Giant Fairy next turn. That would have been great. But now I won't see it for the rest of the game. So it doesn't feel good. So at least with her, you get to look at them and then just put it back. If it's not a song.
I'm kind of feeling like there's going to be a 1 or 2 drop Mulan. Like it could be a 2 drop. I could see a 2 drop where it's just like Mulan before she went off to war. Like even before she like left her home, where she was just like this like Camino girl.
Yeah. Well, this is it right there.
Well, no, this is like the shift form. This is what I was getting at, where like this is the Empress of China type deal.
Okay.
Whereas the next one, like the next Mulan that we get is gonna be a vanilla like 1 or 2 drop. That's like a 2/2 or a 1/3. That's like the one that just isn't reflecting. Like she's trying to become a sutress. I don't know if that's exactly the word, but anyway. But yeah, I'm feeling good about the card. I think it's solid.
Anthony, do you have any thoughts with this one?
I love the art.
You playing it?
Friends on the Other Side is in your Amber Amethyst deck.
Yeah.
I mean, you could consider it.
You playing it?
I'll
You could consider it.
Like Tyler said, I'll look at it once.
We'll put it in the deck for like one day, and then it's coming out.
Just because it doesn't make your deck doesn't mean it's not a good card.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can respect it without playing
For sure.
it.
I can respect a lot of
Like
things.
I do with most Amethyst cards. I don't really play a lot of them, but
Right.
I respect a lot of them.
He's been dabbling in that
Actually,
Amber life.
I feel
bro.
that way more often with Amber than I do with Amethyst, just to be completely honest. Amber is really winning me over with this set. They've had a lot of good cards. So, Anthony, do you want to get another one?
Okay, so the next card we're going to talk about is Dragon Gem, which is a 3-cost uninkable item. Has the ability or the effect bring back to life. Exert for 3 and return a character with support from your discard to your hand. And I really like this. I picked this card
solid.
because it's starting to, we're starting to do that graveyard manipulation that I've always wanted, like starting to bring back stuff from your discard to your hand.
You know what I'm bringing back with this? The chicken.
Hey.
I'm bringing back the chicken.
You're playing 3 ink. We're not going to cut this out, but I'm tempted to cut that out. How bad of an idea that is. You grab one thing with this Dragon Gem, and it's Maximus Palace Horse. That's what you grab.
bro.
Do
Grab the
not
chicken.
bring the hay into this argument. That card hasn't seen play since before the game came out.
But it's a snack.
Oh my gosh. No.
Might be hungry in the middle of the game.
It's going to be like a Leroy Jenkins moment. At least I had chicken.
Let's just say this. Support is not a super prevalent keyword. The only cards I have ever played with support and felt good about were Maximus Palace Horse and Chief Tui. That's it.
That last one's fair.
Chief Tui was in the ramp deck.
Yeah.
I never really even used his support ability, to be honest with you. It was just he had 3 lore
Yeah.
and he was in Sapphire, so I could ramp into him. Dragon Gem requires that I play Amber too, which means I can't play Amethyst, which means Ramp's going to be a little harder because I don't have as much card draw. This set might change that.
Right.
But what you're saying about this being the back and forth is undeniably true. We're going to have more support cards.
Exactly.
This is something that is not once a game. Like, you don't have to establish a Hades loop of getting Hades. You don't have to do that. So
I do wonder if other dragons are going to be the other dragons that are from Ray and the Last Dragon, if they're going to have support.
I mean, maybe. Everybody thought Sisu was going to have support because she hadn't been revealed yet before this.
I don't think I ever thought that Sisu was going to have support.
Well, after this was spoiled, pretty much 99.9.99992 decimals of Twitter were actually,
I feel bad for them because
feel bad for you, son. You're wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, just looking at this card, like if I would have never known Sisu now, I would have looked at this and be like, okay, her brothers and sisters are going to have support.
Maybe.
Because the reason being is because they were the ones that supported her.
Yeah.
She was not the one that did the supporting because she was always afraid. Like, she could not.
Still haven't watched it.
I know. You still got to watch it.
Yeah, they're revealing a lot of cards from this
once
too.
again,
I got to watch it.
Movie night.
Okay.
So, Christopher Robin is a 6-drop inkable 2/6. He is a Dreamborn hero. He is an adventurer. His ability says, he's also got 2 lore. His ability says, "We'll always be together," which, if you've ever watched the movie, I'm now crying on the inside. Whenever you ready this character, if you have 2 or more other characters in play, gain 2 lore. That's really good.
This is the first card that addresses like a start of turn thing. And that's incredible.
It also addresses a mid-turn thing where if you quest with it and then you use this in Ruby and you ready it and you already have you get a payoff.
Yeah.
I think so good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This guy is ruthless. I mean, he's a little boy, but this little boy is ruthless in Amber. You cannot let your opponent ready up when they have this. This is the best Simba Maximus Palace Horse companion card.
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
You can just literally force them to do something.
Wow.
Or you
have
just
an
sit
answer.
There. Whenever you have, I know I keep saying this, but like when a card has standalone value, you always have to ask yourself, what if I have 2? Like, how much better is that? And I don't even think it's just additive. I think it's multiplicative. Like it gets exponentially better because you just win faster with this card. You're not just getting cards. You're winning the game. You're getting the lore.
You should probably talk about the removal that is now in Amber.
I think we should. Let's say a card that was just revealed last night by the Forbidden Mountain, wonderful YouTube channel. Please check them out. I want to give them their props. They got this card to reveal, and I'm very happy for them. Well deserved. The card they spoiled was World's Greatest Criminal Mind, an action song in Amber, 3 inkable, and a character with cost 3 or more can exert to sing the song for free. And the effect is simple. Banish chosen character with 5 strength or more. Outright, love it.
Yeah.
I say unconditional. It's conditional, but it's it's a condition that's pretty easy to meet. And you're removing the stuff that you care to remove.
Somebody pointed something out to me, and I must say something.
Can I call it at the same time? 3, 2, 1.
Support.
Meg. Oh, support. You can
support other players' characters.
Yikes.
Oh.
And you can give them extra strength.
I was just thinking about straight up Meg and improvise and stuff like that to just boost strength. But support is dirty.
Yeah, you can support your opponent's character and then remove it with this.
That's so good.
Oh, wow.
Todd, I just want to go ahead and let you know, I was thinking about you in this episode. When we started to talk about it, I wanted to be able to talk about it.
That's gross.
Yeah, so a guy from...
That's something Radigan would do.
The guy from our locals, Todd, he actually messaged me about this card and was like, you know that you can support and give the support to your opponent's character and then use this, right? I was like, yikes. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Dude. Oh my gosh.
It's dirty.
Okay. Well, let's get one more card in before we finish this little segment here.
Oh, you mean my card? You mean Pack Tactics?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was revealed by Jonty and Brandon.
Oh, my man.
This Week in Ink, their podcast about Lorcana. They got this reveal.
So
Props to them.
Pack Tactics is a 4-drop inkable. It is an action, which is awesome. Gain 1 lore for each damaged character opponents have in play. Yeah, I'm 100% using this. Just going ahead and using that grab your swords, damaging everything in a multiplayer game. Obviously, this is going to be like amazing, but damage it all. Go ahead, play this, get my lore, and then remove it all.
Yeah, fire. The point that John T. and Brandon brought up that I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. I was driving when I was listening to them talk about this. You can play this, and this is like the only card that we really know of, other than shifting onto a character, that you can just gain lore that no one had any idea was coming.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can pair this up with like a grab your sword, like you're saying, out of nowhere, I have 4 characters on board. I sing grab your swords, play Pack Tactics. I just got a Mickey BLT quest out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
That changes the math drastically in games because this card single-handedly can take you from a position of like, I'm going to lose, I need to figure something out, to, I win.
Oh, I win.
I just win. Okay. Because there's those times where you're like, man, if we just keep going back and forth, they're going to race me and they're going to win. Yeah. But this is just like, and I take the lead.
This pack,
so good.
Pack Tactics is the RKO. It's literally, it's out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is disgustingly good. In multiplayer, I think this might be the first card that gets banned if they have a ban list for multiplayer.
Yeah.
So
I think if there was ever a moment where if there was ever going to be something that has ban worthy ability on it, it's this. Multiplayer is going to look at this and be like, yeah, this is turn 0. You can't play that. you can put in 4 of whatever other cards you want as long as it's not that.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our favorite reveals. We do have a couple more that we'll discuss in the next segment about the discard strategy that's propping up in the game right now. But first, we're going to hear a word about one of our favorite sponsors, Meeple City Games. See you soon.
This episode is also sponsored by Meeple City Games. Looking for a local game store in your 4 states area of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma? Meeple City Games is the place for you. Stocking TCGs such as Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, and Lorcana, Meeple City Games is your one-stop shop for all your TCG needs. Check out the link in the description below to check out their location. Meeple City Games. Come join the fun.
What the? You're and
you changed.
And you. I think we all changed.
Yeah. Well, you know what hasn't changed? This set is dope.
This set is dope.
Okay. We had to have a 48-hour recess after our first segment.
Because this stuff was just like, what?
Well, no, actually, it was because we had to leave.
Oh, yeah.
We seemed a little bit rushed for time before the break, but we are coming back because we could not go without the mailbag segment and the other segment we wanted to plan. But also, luckily, in this 48-hour window, there were some cool cards shown.
Bro.
And I feel like we would be doing a disservice to the people who were watching and listening to the show if we did not at least discuss the outcome of these reveals. We're not really going to spend too much time on them, but to talk about the synergies a little bit, a bomb of synergy was released on Twitter. Every one of the park sites was getting reveals to reveal a special synergy existing that I wasn't aware. I've kind of been out of the loop, I guess, on this. This is going to be part of the starter decks, but it was Snow White and the 7 Dwarves making their debut.
It looks so good.
And I'm very glad we got a chance to talk about this on this episode because it's like new and fresh. By the time this releases, it's probably going to be like a week old or whatever. But the thing is, every single one of these dwarves are inkable. So it automatically doesn't force you to have to decide, okay, I'm just running the dwarves and Snow White, and then I've had all the uninkables I can handle.
I would like to point out that the one card that matters in Snow White is not inkable.
Yeah. Snow White, okay, well, let's just break
She's a
this down.
choice, man.
Let's run this through real quick. Snow White is uninkable. She costs 2, 1 strength, 2 willpower, 1 lore. What's most important, though, with all of these are what they do. So how do you do ability? You may pay 1 less ink to play 7 Dwarfs characters. So all of your 7 Dwarfs are going to be discounted with this. They have to have the subtype of 7 Dwarf. Anthony, do you have these pulled up?
Yeah.
How about you run through 3 of them, then you can take another 3, and I'll just get the last one.
Okay, cool.
Any 3 you want, Anthony.
All right, I'm starting off with Sleepy because that's how I am right now. Sleepy, nodding off.
That's a mood, man. That is a mood.
2 cost inkable, 2/3 with 2 lore. Has the ability to yawn. This character enters play exerted. Then we have Bashful, Hopeless, Romantic. 4 cost inkable, 2/5. 3 lore, has the ability, oh gosh. This character can't quest unless you have another 7 Dwarfs character in play.
Oh my
and
gosh.
then we have Sneezy, Very Allergic. 2 cost, inkable as well. They're all inkable.
Yeah.
1/4 with only 1 lore on this one, has the ability, Achoo. Whenever you play this character or another 7 Dwarfs character, you may give chosen character -1 strength this turn.
Okay, Tyler, you get another 3.
Oh, that's solid. That's all solid. Okay. So we'll do you
Start
know
with
what?
the bottom one.
I want to save him for last. Okay. So we'll do Happy. It is, hold on, let me bounce forward. So Happy, Good Natured. He's a 3/5 5-drop with 2 lore, and he's got support.
Support for those.
Yeah,
Support. I didn't understand what he just said.
He's got support, which is, I mean, at this point now, support is like so much better than what it was.
3 strength on support's legitimately good.
Yeah,
but keep on going.
And with the 5 backside, it's really solid. And then Grumpy is a exactly, Jacob, what you've been looking for is the anthem.
Yes.
Synergies, man, synergies. It's a 4-drop. He's grumpy, bad tempered. He is a 3/4, so solid. His ability, there's trouble a brewing. Your other 7 dwarf characters get +1 strength. It is solid, sour as a green gooseberry. And then my favorite 7 dwarfs character, Dopey, because he's dope. Dopey, always playful. He is a 3-drop, 2/2, odd one out. When this character is banished, your other 7 dwarfs characters get +2 strength until the start of your next turn.
So even on your opponent's turn, they get something.
Man.
All right, I'll take the last one.
I would like to point out,
What?
just real quick, you're the one who spoke that entire phrase of giving something power or just any sort of enduring ability. Yeah. Any sort of enduring ability, you spoke that into existence before this card even was around yet.
To be fair, this card was around in the Ravensburger offices probably since a year or 2 ago.
Maybe.
But still, thank you for recognizing that. My Be Prepared Make Up a Card segment did have that feature on it.
Yeah.
But there's one more of the 7 dwarfs, the leader of the 7 dwarfs. It is Doc, leader of the 7 dwarfs.
My man.
He's 3 cost, 2 strength, 3 willpower, 2 lore. Love the stats. He has an ability share and share alike. Whenever this character quests, you may pay 1 less ink for the next character you play this turn. So any character, not just a 7 dwarf. So all in all, I want to make the little shout out. I did not catch this until Jonty on Twitter pointed this out, that all of their card arts can be stacked next to one another and form a collage of all dwarves.
Just noticed that.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing. It is something that I think a lot of binders, there's a shame that there's no 7-slot binder, right?
Is there 8?
I mean, you could do something like that.
I think there's one that have like 4 on each side.
That is true. You could do a 4 slot and a 4 slot.
Yeah, a 4 slot
and a 4 slot. Go across the top of a row.
Go across and then have Snow White at the end.
Yeah, those aren't really close enough together to like maintain the image, though. That is the one drawback of that. But it's something cool.
Still solid.
It's a great flavor win to see all these dwarves work together. It's the same artist, Kendall Hale. So shout out to them. You got a sweet assignment from Ravensburger. As far as the synergy of these characters go, I don't think they're missing anything except for card draw, right?
Yeah.
So there is no dwarf that gives card draw, and there also is no dwarf that buffs lore. But I don't think you necessarily need to buff lore because they did us a great service by letting all of them quest for a legitimately good amount. You have
Except for Grumpy.
Yeah, some 1 lore. I mean, Sneezy's 1 lore as well. Dopey's 1 lore. I'm saying that there is synergy inside the tribe.
Yeah.
That you have 2 lores, 3 lores.
Doc's
sitting
2,
there.
Bashful's 3 at a 4 drop.
Yeah,
That's
and
solid.
all of them cost 5 or less. So you are not trying to you're not really filling your curve with a bunch of low drops. You're not filling it with a bunch of high drops. They kind of fill a nice little mid-range deck. Call out to a question we're going to answer later. This strategy, you can play 4 of each. You can pick and choose ones that you don't want a lot of. Like, I could see myself not playing, not maxing out on Dopey. I know he said he's your favorite.
He's my favorite just because of the character.
Yeah, he requires to be banished, which I don't love that ability, but it is strong to get 2 strength when you get banished.
I feel like it's good just to it's there as an easy, just swing in and let it go. Just be like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and swing this in.
So
because you're
turn,
technically supporting everything.
Yeah.
It's its own mini support for every single dwarf that you have on the battlefield. That's solid.
I also think that it could come into play with each of them having 7 dwarfs on their title. There could becoming an item. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with the story. I've seen the movies, but it could become an item that says, hey, if you have a 7 dwarfs, you can do this. So just having that extra character,
I could totally see them coming out with a hi-ho song.
Right.
My gosh.
Something like that.
We still have 102 cards left to spoil here, people. We have a chance.
Well, I do think that this might be all we get, but it's good to me that even if that is all we get, we got a lot of bases covered.
Oh, yeah.
And if you max out on all copies of Snow White and all 7 dwarves, you still have 28 card slots left to fill out in your deck, which we know can be good. Other card draw, it could be whatever this seems like it's missing. You could fill it out.
The rest of Amber?
I mean, Amber's looking nice, okay? It was my least favorite color going into chapter 1, playing the game.
Yeah.
I didn't build many Amber decks. I wasn't looking forward to it. I didn't love that, the over-reliance on Rapunzel. But there's a lot of strategies now in Amber that I'm really excited to test out.
I was about to say Rapunzel now looks really, really good in this particular set.
Rapunzel looks good in this 7 dwarf strategy.
Yeah,
right.
this is
That's legit.
Rapunzel just looks at him like, I love every single one of you.
Do you guys think this is the start of some mono decks? Do you think this is strong enough?
Okay, here's the deal. You can make a mono deck.
Maybe.
But until you have a card that rewards you for playing a mono deck, I would argue that there is definitely a better Sapphire, Ruby, Amber, Steel, Emerald card you could play instead of your 4th copy of Grumpy. You know what I mean? As long as there's one card slot that you're like, no, every Amber card is legitimately the best option I have, there's no incentive unless you have that card that's like, okay, if you play all Amber cards and the judge has checked that, then this card costs 2 less.
I see what you're saying.
I mean?
Yeah.
That's hard to do whenever you're not doing a digital game because you don't have the check of legitimacy, before the game starts.
I think that there should be a game format. Ravensburger, hear me out. I think there should be a game format that specifies that if you are playing a certain color, if you're playing monocolor this, inherently your deck automatically gets an ability. Amber has its own thing that it does and it does well. And Sapphire has its own thing.
What you're talking about is hero powers from Hearthstone.
Kind of. I mean, yeah, basically. But specifying okay, this is Amber has this thing that inherently makes...
You're saying something like, if you're playing all Amber cards, all your Amber cards cost 1 less.
I wouldn't even
super good.
Yeah,
but
no, I wouldn't even go that far. I would just you fill in the gap that Amber leaves by itself. Obviously, Amber now has some removal, and it has certain things that it does well now.
Mm-hmm.
You fill it in with a gap that Amber does not do well, and just be like, hey, this is if you're playing an all Amber deck, this is what this is your bonus. If you're playing an all Sapphire deck, this is your bonus.
If you're playing an all Ruby deck, you already win the game. So we got to get a couple more cards before we get to the main discard segment. Another Amber card that was revealed was Mufasa, Betray's leader.
Again.
It is Mufasa. I had to.
One more time.
Okay, Mufasa. So 5 cost, inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, 2 lore. The sun will set. When this character is banished, you may reveal the top of your card, or reveal the top card of your deck.
If it's a character card, you may play that character for free. And they enter play exerted. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. It's an Amber Legendary.
It's so good.
So I will say this. I don't love the condition of having to be banished. I don't like that. But if I'm going to get something for getting banished, I would love another free card. Another free character would be pretty nice. And given that there is top deck manipulation in this game, where you can know what's on top of your deck, it inherently sits there and says, I think I might just stack a 9-drop on top of my deck and get it for free.
Amber Amethyst. Tell me that's not going in there.
It's a low-cost thing.
But if you just strictly just play all characters, just a straight character deck.
But you're going to be dropping friends on the other side if that's the case. I mean, you could play limited ones. The question is, Anthony, you play the deck. Would it make your deck? Would that make it?
You playing a character for free.
Playing a character for free is pretty... we just got to test it out, honestly. We just got to test it out because
I can neither confirm nor deny the presence
that
of this card.
part, because the whole deck is going to really change with all these cards coming out. And we have to account for the other cards that we're putting in. So we just got to test it all out, man.
If I'm relying on the randomness of the game state being in a situation where I can willfully challenge Mufasa in to die, and then all of a sudden I get rewarded for it, if I'm playing into that randomness of also not knowing what's on the top of my deck every single time, I need my deck to have such a high character count,
right?
Such a high velocity of high ink characters where I'm getting like winning plays off of this. Because if I'm paying 5 ink for a 3/3/2 lore, I'm already overpaying, technically, right? It is a cool and thematic ability, but it reminds me of how I felt with like Beast Wolfsbane as a legendary, where you're like, ooh, if you have a damaged character, I come in and rush and I can remove something immediately. It leans into a strategy, but it's like feels a little awkward to play. Now that card was uninkable. This one's inkable, so you can afford a little more risk. But I'm not totally sold, but oh my gosh, the highlight reels, the moment of tension that this brings to games, I love that. I play.
It feels Timmy.
Yeah, I feel the joy of like, what's on the top? What's on the top? Mulan does the same thing. It's cool.
So it's when it's banished?
When it's banished.
And it's 5 costs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you really could cheat it out with
Just in time. Or, you can't do Gruesome Grim, because I was thinking like it's going to be banished guaranteed. Like that would be pretty sweet.
Bro,
it costs more than 4, so
they did this on purpose.
Yeah. All right, there's one more card.
Shere Khan.
Shere Khan. Tyler, you can't read. I believe that's German.
Nope, sure can, but I can't read that. So Shere Khan is a 3-drop, 3/3 with 1 lore. Is Threatening Predator. Its ability is Don't Insult My Intelligence. It's not cretin, it's cretin. If you can insult me, do it properly. Whenever one of your characters challenge another character, gain 1 lore.
I love this.
This is solid.
So much. I said this on Twitter, so pardon me for the double take here. I equate getting lore for challenging kind of like getting to damage something for questing. I like Hans. Hans did not see a ton of play, though. So... in my decks, at least. He never felt like he really made the difference. However, Hans was getting to quest and doing 1 damage. So that 2 lore you were getting didn't always feel like it was, it was just a little bit of a buildup. But you can strategize if you know you're doing this. You can strategize. I would rather basically get lore for challenging than to get damage for questing, because it makes it where I get lore no matter what.
Right.
If I need to address your board, I can do it and still get lore for it. Or I can set up win conditions, like with the Shift Scar from Chapter 1.
Yeah.
He immediately lets you ready
piece
up.
Of garbage?
He was garbage. He was, but now he's rising. We're talking kings and successions here. So the thing is, Scar readied up all 3 or lower cost cards. And we were like, I guess, right? They can't quest, so what am I going to do with them? Shere Khan says what you
Shere
can do with
Khan's
them.
like, hey.
You can challenge with all of them and gain 1 lore for each. That's a setup.
And he's a 3-drop.
He's a 3-drop. He's not expensive. Hans was 4. That's like, it's a little harder to fit in. 3-drop, 3 strength, 3 willpower, and he has his own 1 lore. This is great. He's going to get his own. Is it whenever another character or whenever a character?
Whenever one of your characters.
So including him.
Including him.
Including him. That's just
a swinging Or you can just leave him up and
I would
let
leave him
everything
up.
else swing.
Yeah. But the point remains that he's solid.
Think about that, but with Heroic Outlaw.
Oh, yeah.
So you're challenging, banishing, getting 2, they're losing 2, and you're gaining 1 from this because you're challenging.
This guy
This is gross.
This guy makes Reckless way more okay. Right?
Yeah.
We talked about Sorcerer's Spellbook. Like you can gain 1 lore on a exertion of an item. We talk about like surprise pack tactics, getting surprise lore. If you have Shere Khan out, there's a lot of surprises available to you.
Yeah.
You can like throw down the new Scar, the Shift Scar we discussed in this episode,
Oh, yeah.
who can challenge multiple times as long as he keeps banishing things.
That's not a
He's
shift.
getting a lore. Oh, it's not a shift. I keep on thinking it's a shift. He's just so
'Cause
good.
it's good.
It's so good. But yeah, he can keep challenging stuff, readying up challenging stuff, a lore each time you do it.
Oh, doesn't you can also do that with the new beast.
The new beast.
In the green.
Whenever an opposing character takes damage,
Doop.
he readies up.
So
just
good.
It's just really cool. I'll be the first one to say it. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's solid. It's very solid.
Yeah.
I'm cool with all that.
All right, so I believe that concludes our assessment of some of the notable cards we just couldn't go more time without talking about.
Yeah, we couldn't let those go.
So I put a poll on Twitter, and it says, genuinely curious to see the results of this poll for an upcoming episode's discussion. Here we are. Please share with your Lorcana followers. So here's the scenario. You sit down for a casual game of Lorcana, and you see your opponent is playing a make you discard strategy. What do you think? And you have 3 options. 1, this is fun. 2, I do not care. 3, this is not fun. We got 128 votes on this poll. I was very appreciative of all those who kind of commented to propagate and aggregate
There's a fourth
thing.
option that said burn the other deck.
So I would reveal the poll results to y'all in a second, but I want to know what your answer would be to this question. Anthony?
I'm going with the first response, but with the sarcastic tone.
This is fun.
This is so fun.
But honestly, I mean, it's just a strategy.
How would you click? Which one would you click? Which one?
Man,
Do you even care?
no, because I'm going to care. Because with that strategy, I'm not gonna be able to play my stuff. So I'm just gonna say this is not fun.
Okay.
But genuinely, it's just a strategy. It's just something I'm gonna have to deal with.
You would probably click this is not fun because more often than not you would think it's not fun, but also you could be convinced that you don't care. If maybe you were playing a deck that was a little more resilient to it, it could change. But you fluctuate between those two.
Yeah.
You're on that end of the spectrum at least. Tyler, how do you feel about this?
I fit into. See, the problem is I play the deck, so I feel like I'm being targeted here. Honestly, I fit well. I fit kind of in between the I don't care and hey, this is fun. Like you don't get to have a hand. You don't get to have a hand. I have a hand.
Yeah,
sucks.
Yeah.
So it's a strategy, and you like it, so you want to play it, so you feel naturally biased towards.
Yeah, I'm
enjoying
a bit biased.
Okay, I answer this as I will never answer do not care. This is not fun. Okay, I've played it before. I was not having fun. Yeah, I understand the trolly nature of like, no more cards for you. Isn't that sweet that I can do that? And I think it's legitimate that some people can enjoy that strategy, like that social interaction of, all right, let's see if you can get around this puzzle. You know, that's a legitimate feeling.
You know, the reason why I do it is because Sugi ruined me the very first day that we got Lorcana cards, right?
Yeah, whenever you get beat by a deck, you build that deck. I get it.
Like,
That's what happens. But
it hurt.
I need to beat you with like a really bad deck. And then you'll build that bad deck, and then I'll beat you. No, it's just gonna be a perpetual cycle.
That's a bad cycle.
Never mind.
That's not good.
Okay, the reason we bring up this poll, it's not just because I'm salty about it. Okay, there's more to it. I want to get data. I want to analyze it. I want to see the feelings behind it. So I'm glad you answered. We each kind of had an answer here. You would say this is not fun, but you could say don't care. You say this is fun, but you could say don't care. Yeah. I say this is not fun, and I will never say I don't care. I care about a lot of things more than I should.
He also straight up just said that he's not having.
Yeah,
like it's not fun.
It's not fun to me. So
he's not saying it's fun.
Here's the deal.
Period.
this strategy is definitively going to get better with Chapter 2.
Yeah.
So if someone was not convinced to play the strategy because maybe You Have Forgotten Me and Sudden Chill weren't enough, maybe playing A Whole New World and forcing them to dump a hand that they liked wasn't enough, playing that discard strategy is going to catch a lot more eyes because you have cards like Daisy Duck, which forces everyone to discard, all your opponents to discard whenever she quests. You have the Shift Bell, which makes you discard your whole hand if you challenge into her. It has Prince John, which lets you draw a card for every single time an opponent discards. You have Hypnotize, which forces you to everyone to discard a card. You have the non-Shift Bell in this deck or in this set, which gets an extra lore whenever you have an empty hand, which could be synergized because you're dumping cards when you make them discard 2. You also have cards like Lucifer, which make them discard 2 when he's played, or 1 action card. And you have cards that the one thing discard decks needed was consistent draw. And sometimes you have to find it in creative ways. And the card that came out was Donald Duck, Gentleman.
Yeah.
And this card says that at the start of your turn, each player draws a card.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that card may seem on its face like a positive experience for everyone. And you definitely can build that way. But I guarantee you, because it's an Emerald, every single Emerald player is going, okay, so I can replenish the card. I get an extra card, and they're going to discard that anyways. And stuff like Prince John, when is he dead? Whenever they have no hand to begin with. So how are you, on your turn, going to ensure they have a card for them to discard? By forcing them to draw one whenever you start your turn.
Hey, I'm sorry that I did what I did.
Yeah.
How about you have a card, and now I'm going to take it away from you. I'm going to draw a card.
Donald Duck, when built in an aggressive way, becomes each opponent gets to look at what they would have drawn next turn. It's pretty dirty.
Don't tempt me with a good time, sir.
So you made a point, Tyler, that the poll I made kind of broke down to play styles.
Yeah.
We kind of covered
talk about
this
the
in one of the very
percentages, man.
early episodes, but here was the breakdown of everybody who answered, all 128 people plus us. 50%, 64 people said this is not fun. Okay?
Timmy.
So you already have a plurality there. A majority of people do not think it's fun. 39% of people said don't care. And 11%, 14 people said this is fun.
All the people that play it.
Yeah, those are the people that play it.
It's my people.
So I think that we can generally say
It can definitively
the
say.
mass majority, 89% of players either are not impressed, have no feelings of the matter, or feel negatively about the presence of the deck. So what I think about this is maybe
There's a lot of Timmys out there. Bud.
maybe we slow down with the insane discard support, right? I think we've juiced it up enough. The deck ain't thirsty anymore. Okay. It's getting borderline scary. I'll just say it. It's getting borderline scary because when I look at something like Prince John and someone does You Have Forgotten Me on a multiplayer board.
They're drawing 14 cards.
Well, they're drawing
their
6 cards. 6 cards. You Have Forgotten Me's everyone discards 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about
A Whole New World.
Yeah, A Whole New World.
A Whole New World would be you
You're
draw
drawing your
7 and then you draw 7 more because Prince John sees them discard 7 or discard whatever they discarded. So maybe it's less than 7. But you're drawing a lot.
Yeah.
On a multiplayer table, odds are, unless you're playing it early, you're not going to get 7 from each person. But if you maybe play A Whole New World into A Whole New World, you can guarantee that you're getting more cards than that.
So many
It's
cards.
pretty scary. More often than not, though, discard's problem is it has a lot of cards that make people discard, but if they don't have cards in hand, who cares? But if you don't have any cards in hand, are you really playing the game? You know, you're gonna
No,
top deck.
You're not.
Yeah, you're gonna top deck and you're gonna see what you can do. And then if it's not inkable and it costs more than the ink you have, you can't even do anything. It's a strategy that like I definitely see it. People's arguments of it's just a puzzle to solve. You know, figure it out. If you don't like it and you don't win, shuffle up, play another game. And I totally understand that mindset. I'm just speaking towards. It seems like a lot of people. And this is a very small percentage of the Lorcana community,
Right.
but a lot of people among the people that we know on Twitter that are influenced by our voting capabilities of this poll, it seems like the trend is we don't really like it that much. So what's the point of the poll, guys? What do you think? What do you think the takeaway is? Who can learn from it? What can we?
There's 52% Timmys, 39% Johnnies, and 11% Spikes.
Because it seems good.
Yeah.
If it wasn't good, Spikes wouldn't play it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What I learned is it's time for a discard manipulation deck. As in, I need an effect that said, when this card is discarded, do something.
Exactly. That was pointed out on Twitter. Someone said that. They were like, we need something that can be played for free when it's discarded.
You're that one guy that like saw the discard decks in Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day and was like, man, I need something, and then got Dark World.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, hey,
even in
you want to
Magic,
discard
they
my
had that
hand?
card.
Sure. I got a whole 5 cards of effects that I get to go off right now because you screwed up.
Even in Magic, you had like, it was a very black color thing to do to make people discard cards. And green's counteraction to that was Nullhide Ferox, a card that was like, if you discard this card, if your opponent plays an effect that makes you discard this card, put it on the battlefield. Right. You know, and it was really strong. So Lorcana has established a lot of counterplay. And this set especially, a ton of counterplay with making healing more effective, with making lore gaining not like have to establish a board first. Like you can get surprise lore, which means that board domination and control is not the end all be all of the game at this point.
You build an entire board.
Yeah.
Pack Tactics all of a sudden says, oh, what have I done?
Be prepared was a necessity for the way we saw the game developing as the pre-set one like gameplay style of just flood your board with as much as possible was going. Counterplay is how you make me okay with it. Like counterplay, I don't see it yet. As far as I know, I have to have my own Prince John on board to make sure that whenever my multiplayer opponents also discard, I get to draw something back.
Yeah.
It's scary to me that the discard player is getting cards too. Like if that Donald Duck was in a different color than Emerald, maybe we're talking here, you know, but it's really scary.
I'm
terrified. I need in these next 100 cards or so they have, I need some discard counterplay. And once I get it, I will never talk about it again, you know, because I have an option.
Yeah. I need something that's going to help boost my whole new world deck so I can draw them out. Yeah, you keep drawing. Surprise.
You're drawing an extra card too, Anthony, on that situation. So,
but not as many as them.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, because whenever you're discarding, they're drawing. With, oh, man. That maybe that is your counterplay. Maybe you're right. Get greedy with the card draw.
Sir, I don't like what you're doing
Here's
here.
the deal. If I then changed one word in this poll, if I said, instead of casual, if I said, you sit down for a competitive game of Lorcana and you see your opponents playing a make you discard strategy, what do you think? I think it kind of nullifies the whole point of the poll.
For sure. I don't care because
I don't care. I planned for this, right? And if it's super niche, my bad.
Right.
You took a rogue strategy to a tournament. We are not trying to have fun here. We're trying to win, and I'm trying to have fun while winning. So for anyone who's like,
Game time.
what if you're playing competitively? There's my answer. I no longer care, right? I'm not.
Yeah, this stops being, it's not fun. Like
I'm only having fun in a tournament if I feel like I've made a lot of friends there, even if I'm losing or if I'm winning, right? Because when I'm losing in a tournament, I need to make some friends because I need consolidation. I need consolation. What's the word I'm looking for? Condolences.
Yeah. You need condolences.
Yeah, I need condolences. I need to feel like I gained something here.
You need consoling.
I didn't just waste money. Yes, I need consoling. That's the word I'm looking for.
Consoling and consolidation.
The other thing I wanted to mention about this is I wanted to write down in Commander in Magic, they call it something called the Rule Zero discussion. And because multiplayer is a format that Lorcana cares about, and I love multiplayer Lorcana, it's at the locals, there's no incentive to play with multiplayer, technically with the point system that is being used. Like, you're just taking up other people's time where they could be gaining points from matches.
Ravensburger, help us out.
Yeah. You can use house rules for that. We can talk about our locals rules and stuff later, but Rule Zero discussion is like before the game starts. Rule Zero, discuss what you're playing, and if it is something that you think everybody in the table is going to be okay with, and do the best you can to make sure the game is going to be a fair setup. And sometimes in Lorcana it's unique because not always like the most competitive 1v1 decks are going to be like the best multiplayer decks too.
Right.
It's pretty common that they're still strong, but it might be worthwhile if you were playing discard. Like, it's one of the strategies that I think if you know you're playing a make everybody discard deck, because all the discard cards, like, they affect everyone. There are no like just one opponent discards a card. Maybe you should just talk about it. If you're bringing that to a multiplayer table, just mention it. Say like, guys, I'm playing Amber Emerald. It's a discard deck. Are y'all cool with that? Because otherwise, after your third, you have forgotten me when everyone's top decking. They're just gonna want to move. They're not gonna want to play.
So I'm done. I'm just gonna.
Especially since there's no real way of knocking somebody out unless you make a deck out.
Yeah,
but it's not an easy way.
Yeah, no one's really taking a mill deck to the multiplayer anyways. That might be another strategy of like if you're playing a mill deck in a multiplayer game, maybe you should say it.
That is a conversation that needs to be had.
The
like, hey, I'm playing mill. No, you can sit over there.
The difference, I will say this though, the difference in mill decks and discard decks, a whole new world as a mill effect is a little bit different than this because it does make you discard your hand. But one of the reasons that I was never too frustrated against mill decks in other games is because usually my hand is left alone. And I can just see those cards going into my discard pile as I was never going to get them anyways, right? I'm not losing anything real unless I was a combo deck and I lost combo pieces. If I'm just playing a value deck that's just trying to play the game, you have to mentally separate. That is not killing me. My life is still the same. I'm still have cards in hand. I'm still going to draw a card next turn. Everything's the same. Just mentally block it out. So I need counterplay in this set.
Yeah,
I'll finish with that. I need counterplay in this set. So that wraps up our segment. Unless you have something else to say.
No.
Okay.
I think it's time that we talk about the mailbag portion.
But quickly after this sponsor.
This episode is also sponsored by Texarkana Podcast Studio. Wanting to start your very own podcast or voice web series? Well, Texarkana Podcast Studio is the place for you. Whether it's true crime, sports, murder mystery, or a fun card game you want to talk about with your friends, Texarkana Podcast Studio is here for all of your recording needs. Check out the link in the description below to schedule your first session today. Texarkana Podcast Studio, where your voice is heard.
And we're back. So now we are going to get into mailbag. Whew. Let's get into it. YouTube. Are we starting with YouTube?
Yeah, we're starting with YouTube.
Go for it.
If you want to get a question in real quick, we post a community post on YouTube and we post a tweet on X, also known as Twitter. And
Formerly known
yes,
as Twitter.
Before we record each episode, we try to give as much notice as we can to get up-to-date questions. But yeah, go to Twitter, go to X, whatever, go to YouTube, look out for the community posts, put your question on there. We answer just about anything. So
Within reason.
Within reason. So yeah, it doesn't have to be about the game, but that's usually relevant and helpful if it is. So the question we have on YouTube is from Major Dose 92. He says, based on all the reveals so far, what decks do you think will be at the top of the meta next set? Emerald Steel, Amethyst Emerald Bounce, etc. Now, disclaimer.
We're not meta players.
We're not meta discussion people. I understand why you want that discussion though. I totally get it. The Forbidden Mountain discusses that quite at length. They do a lot of tournament coverage. You could check them out if you want to see. I'm pretty sure you are checking them out, to be honest. If you're watching our show.
Yeah, if you're watching us,
you're on the
definitely
Lorcana
watching
YouTube.
them.
Yeah. However, because you asked, not because we feel like we're some kind of expert, I don't feel like guessing what the next meta will be is very valuable with what we know now. Yeah. I don't know how much value my answer has, but I will give it to you. I personally believe that the current top deck I'm seeing, Amber Steel, with its song synergy and board damage wipes and healing and resilience with recurring things from your discard pile, I think nothing has been released except for resist as a keyword that would stop that deck from being able to do what it wants.
And it's just going to add those cards into it.
And the thing is, I don't think it's going to add resist as much.
It's going to definitely add the heal stuff.
It's going to add some healing more effectively. And I believe it's going to add more songs that are just really good and other song synergy things to go alongside Aerial. Maybe it leans away entirely from the Stitch package.
Mulan.
And it goes more towards that mid-range style.
I think Mulan works.
Mulan, definitely. If you get a higher count of songs in the deck, like it's just worth it. So my guess is the safe guess. What's already winning is going to get a little bit better, so it's kind of hard to justify why it would lose that spot.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm a huge advocate for don't be burdened into the meta. Like, if you can somehow convince your people at your locals or your family to just don't pay attention to that. Like, just play what you want to play, and we'll slam some games together.
Play the rogue deck. It's fine.
Yeah, I like playing decks that are not as strong against other decks that are not as strong, because then you get unique interactions. I don't want to play a mirror match of Amber Steel into Amber Steel. I've done it. It's not that fun.
Or a mirror match of Ruby Amethyst into
Oh,
Ruby
God.
Amethyst.
Yeah, that takes like 3 hours.
You want to talk about a 3-hour game?
Yeah.
Let's talk about a 3-hour game.
Yeah.
After that one, I'm done for
So
the night.
what do y'all think? Do you think any of the new stuff that they're revealing is going to have a huge impact to change it
I
up?
think Bounce will have.
I was just about to say it's Bounce is king.
Bounce is going to have a lot of.
Bounce legitimately
It has a chance.
and it is ironic that the last episode we recorded was like, this Bounce card. Like, I saw
Right.
people mentioning on Twitter, like, dude, you had no clue. I was like, this Bounce card, I don't even see how it's good. Like,
It is
seems
good.
legitimately terrible. And then they're like, hey, guess what? 15 Bounce cards. So, they would have to make a card that really cared about being bounced. Insert 5 cards that care about being bounced. It make me look dumb in 30 seconds or less, Ravensburger.
It's like, what are all these
take it.
cards? Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're all Bounce cards.
So there was one other YouTube question. This is from the previous episode's mailbag that didn't get answered, and I just felt like this is something people would want to know. Dinglish Design 3 weeks ago said, "What does mid-range mean?" I see it everywhere, and I can't. And it's just like your best cards are 3 to 5 cost cards instead of the aggro cheap or bomb expensive cards. Is that all it is? And I can answer this if y'all want to, but if y'all think you can answer this, go ahead.
You got it.
I feel like you have the better knowledge of this because
Okay.
I feel like you play mid range better than we
Okay,
do.
well, mid-range, it kind of boils down to 3 to 5 costs, but really what mid-range is trying to do as a strategy, pulling from other card game experiences, is your deck's curve. If you wonder what that is, watch the Lorcana Lesson series. Your deck's curve peaks at that middle range deck card cost. So it really is a lot of 3 to 6 cost cards. But what the strategy really leans into is not just I insert 3 to 6 cost cards in my deck. It leans into I want the best quality cards I can get that are standalone value, good no matter what the board state is, at those ranges. Because mid-range seeks to be more resilient than aggro, but be able to contest it in the early game. That's why you have those 3 cost cards. And it seeks to be strong enough to compete with card quality for the expensive decks. So whenever they're playing those 7 and 8 cost cards, you at least have 5 to 6 cost cards. They're going to be tougher to deal with. But the most important thing I want to stress is you have high card quality. There's no junk, no combo necessity stuff really baked into your deck. It's just this card's great. I play it on 4. This card's great. I play it on 5. This card's great. I play it on 6. These 2 cards are great. I play them both on turn 7. And it's just, you are throwing down constant threats. It's kind of like tempo. Like they can mirror each other a lot, especially when the card pool is so limited. But tempo more cares more about your play style. Mid-range is how you build your deck. So, y'all have anything to add to that?
No, I think you said it. I think everything that you just said was solid.
Hopefully that helps you Dinglish Design. Tyler, why don't you read the first of the Twitter questions? We're going to run through these pretty quick, but I love the question that Stephen Gettle read. You can read that one. Yeah, it's a fun one. Okay. Or you can read the other one.
Kind of want to talk about Glimmer Gang Gang.
You can read the first one. Read the first one.
So the Glimmer Gang, a competitive Lorcana podcast at Glimmer Gang Pod, tweeted us, Teddy here. Teddy, we love you. What do you think we'll see more play once Rise of the Floodborn comes around? Discard or bounce?
So not really a meta question, but like, what do you think will be
more prevalent?
More prevalent.
I think we're already answering that question right now. Bounce. A lot of bounce. All the bounce.
I think it's gonna be mixed, honestly, because
it will be a mixed bag.
That discard is looking pretty strong.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm not going to lean towards the power of the strategies because that's kind of hard to answer right now. A lot of cards could come out that would make discard even better, or bounce even better. I just think with the way this game is advertised to be fun for family, I see bounce as a way more prevalent thing. I'm kind of cheating here a little bit, but I'm pretty sure bounce is in the starter deck, the steel amethyst starter deck. It features Merlin and Tiana on the box.
That's the combination.
So yeah. So I'm pretty sure that the Steel Amethyst bounce or starter deck will have bounce mechanics in it, which will be in a lot of hands. So as far as what I think we'll see more play, I believe personally that bounce will seem more fun on its face to many players, and I think bounce will inherently be in more people's hands thanks to that Steel Amethyst starter deck.
I agree.
So I would say that's probably going to be played more. I also think that the Mim and Merlin mechanics
Are solid.
they are so solid.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
hate that lost episode deprived you all of that conversation, but hopefully there's some more bombs that could justify us just run it back.
Yeah.
Screwing it.
You know,
We're running it back.
Yeah.
with time and more reveals, our conversation would change anyway. So here's the hoping. Anthony, why don't you get the next question?
All right, so we got a question from Steven Ghetto at S Ghetto. If you were to put 60 copies of a single card in a deck, which card would you choose?
Okay. All right. Guys, we're going to look through the app real quick and look at these card lists because even though I feel like I had an answer prepared, I want to make sure it's
He wasn't
my answer.
prepared.
No, I was prepared.
thought-
I told you my answer was that Emerald card. Remember last time?
That's right.
I was prepared, but I want to give them plenty of time. We're going to cut the segment real quick while we look to leave you not waiting. So we are ready to answer the question now. So my answer that I was trying to convince myself out of, but I just can't do it. It's too good in this scenario. It has to be inkable. It has to be high lore. I want Flynn Rider, the 2-cost, 1/2, 2 lore. If he's challenged, they have to discard a card because it would create that race they can't win if they're trying to get rid of him. So, what's your answer?
Man,
You have to get lore and it has to be inkable. That's the thing.
yeah. I mean, I can't really. I don't see anything too much better than Flint. Jasper. I don't know.
Because you can't quest. That's legitimate.
Yeah.
That's actually legitimately. I don't know how that plays out. Go down in the comment section. Let us know
I
how
know
that
you
plays out.
get the Flint first.
And then,
Whatever.
And then you just quest, and then he can't quest.
Yeah,
I guess
and
you
then-
just individually start locking him out. That's true. That could seriously.
And he's big enough to where he's not going to get stomped out by Flynn. Most of the time,
Yeah.
if you're even trying to challenge into it,
That might be one of the best answers.
I
Thank you
think
for
that
coming
is
up
the
with
best
that.
answer.
All right,
Sir, I'm just
Tyler,
going to leave you be.
what's your answer?
I'm going with Enchantress. I don't know
Just
why.
basically another Flynn, essentially.
Kind of, but at the same time, like, you can't challenge into it cleanly because it's
It'll
automatically.
be a 3-1 if you do.
So it's
Jasper
always
still doesn't get taken out by that though.
true, but if I'm questing with this and like you're having to take out my next one, or
Mm-hmm.
like you're not getting over that.
Yeah.
cleanly.
Yeah,
And Jasper
it's
goes down.
the Jasper situation because it's rewarding you for questing to begin with. You're going to get to quest and you're going to get to stop me from questing. Man, Emerald, stop with this. Well, thank you for the question, Stephen Gettle.
I'd like to
we
point out
appreciate
that
it.
all 3 cards were Emerald.
Yeah, all 3. Yeah, exactly.
Good job, Emerald.
Yeah,
Good
If you
job.
just let Emerald be, then it's the best. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, let Emerald cook.
that wraps up our show. Hopefully you enjoyed that awesome reveal we got to do at the beginning of the episode. Hopefully you're okay with us taking that little break to change clothes after we just were in awe of the glory of Teeth and Ambitions. If you are watching on YouTube, please do us a favor. Go down to the comment section. Let us know what you thought of the cards. Hit that subscribe button.
Click the like button.
Click the like button and share with friends and family. If you are listening on Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts, give us a rating. Tell us what you think. It helps our show kind of get out there and be recommended whenever people are looking up Lorcana podcasts, and we would love it if you took the time to show us and tell us what you thought. Any feedback is welcome. Just let us know.
And also, enjoy the game of Lorcana.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. We know that it's scarce. We know that it's hard to get a hold of. But find people, buy singles. It's okay. You don't have to go crazy on the high end. Like, the game is affordable. Just go out there and buy it. It's fine. You don't have, like, trust me, I want to open packs as much as the next person. That's why I own so many different TCGs. Buy singles. I promise you will not be disappointed.
Yeah.
But until then, until next time, Digital Me, take us out.
Thanks again, guys, for listening to Ready Set Live. If you could, like and share the content and subscribe to the channel, as well as hitting that notification bell for updates on when we post new content. Don't forget to leave a comment as we check for any questions that you guys might have, as well as things to add to our mailbag portion of the podcast. And who knows, maybe your question will be answered in the next episode. And thanks again to Texarkana Podcast Studio for their contribution in making this episode possible. As always, this is the crew from Ready Set Draw, ending our turn.